What's up guys, Damian Keyes here. Before we start, I just want to say hello and a big thank you to anyone who's subscribed over the last couple of weeks because we've had a big influx of subscribers, which is very exciting. So if you can like, subscribe, more importantly, come and be a part of this community and leave some comments because I try and get involved as much as possible. So in the last video, we were looking at how you can make money through your music and through your art. We were looking at old school music industry and why those traditions don't tend to work anymore. We were also looking at other creative industries and what we can kind of steal their ideas because a lot of other industries are doing so much better when it comes to monetizing their art than the music industry. So what could we learn from them? Video was brilliant, had loads and loads of comments, and the biggest one then was people who are very, very excited, but then thinking to themselves, well, that's fantastic, but now I need to go back to the drawing board and I need to create fans. Not an audience, but fans. How am I going to do that? And so that is what we're going to discuss today. Firstly, we don't find fans. We create fans. A fan is someone who relates to something as part of their identity. Finally, they have found someone that they can relate to, someone who stands for them, someone who speaks for them, someone who defines them and who they want to be. It's also the sense of belonging to a tribe. So if you think about it, your music is only part of the solution. You, your look, your lyrics, your story, what you stand for, how you engage with people are all part of the process of how you can build and develop a fan. It's about emotion, whether it's laughter or crying or anger, it's communicating with people in a way they feel a connection. As humans, we crave being surrounded by a community of people who appreciate and support the same interests as ourselves. There are 3 steps to creating fans. Number 1 is awareness. Now, musicians are pretty good at awareness. This is performing, going on social media and saying, here's my music, this is who I am, come to our gig, watch my video. The selfish bit, me, I want to tell you about me. Musicians are good at this, and in doing this, friends, family, and the local community usually get behind you and you start to get a bit more awareness, and then you start to get a bit more likes and follows on your social media. But is that fans? Not yet. Step 2, interest, or the casual fan. Now these are people who know about you and kind of follow your journey, and they probably will get involved to a certain level. Maybe they'll make a playlist on Spotify, maybe they'll watch the odd YouTube video, maybe they'll come to a gig, but they're not a fully fledged, engaged fan yet. And step 3, emotional attachment. Now this is where they become a fully fledged fan. This is where they are seeking you out. This is where they are spending money on you. And all of a sudden, your journey becomes part of their journey. Now, musicians and bands are usually very good at stage 1, pretty good at stage 2, and terrible at stage 3. So what we've got to do is figure out how we're going to push people from stage 2 into stage 3. Now before I go any further, I want to talk about the music, because whenever I make a video, someone always pops up and says, forget about the marketing, just concentrate on the music. If you concentrate on making the best music you can possibly make, then everyone will come to you. Maybe, but why? Why does it have to be so black and white? Why can't you do both? Why can't you make great music and look after your fan base? Why is that not a better option than just going out and out in music marketing or out and out in just the music? Why can't we do a little bit of both and make great content and at the same point look after our fans like they've never been looked after before? Which leads me on to that question. How do we build fans? Not an audience, but fans. Well, firstly, we change the question. It isn't how do we build fans. It's how do we look after people so that they become fans? How do we look after people like they've never been looked after before in their lives? Now, a lot of people say, well, I've only got 100 or I've only got 200 people who are really on my journey. Well, that's amazing. If you look after 100 people like they've never been looked after before, that 100 people will become 1,000 people pretty quick. So even though this is about your music, looking after people has just become the name of the game. So it's how you look after people with your music. You know the film Star Wars? Well, in 2015, the director of Star Wars, J.J. Abrams, was at Comic-Con and he was about to meet a load of fans. Those people were waiting in a queue. There's about 1,500 fans, and he bought enough pizza to feed 1,500 fans who were waiting in the queue to meet him. Now that is looking after people like they've never been looked after. Now, I know you're not going to spend that much money by buying your fans pizza, but you can see the concept. It's not about you and your music. It's about how your music is going to look after the people. And as well as the music, what else can you do to look after your audience? So I've got a few reasons why your audience isn't building in fans as quick as you would like. Tip number one, consistency. Consistency in your posting on social media. Are you posting consistently and frequently, or are you putting a barrage of posts up, then having a massive gap of a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks of nothing, and then another barrage of posts? Because when I go and check out people's social media, I'm seeing big gaps. If this is a relationship, then you going missing for 2 or 3 weeks isn't going to be a positive step. So before we do anything else, we need to get consistency in how often you are posting. Tip number two, value. If you are posting consistency and you are posting regularly, how much value is in the posts that you're putting up? Are you posting for you? Or are you posting for your audience? Now, usually when I go and check out most bands, they're posting for themselves. Come to our gig, listen to this, do that. What you're doing here is you're not building fans, you're ordering people around. You're telling people what you want them to do. That is not the way to build a fan base. The way to build a fan base is to give people what they want. What they want is your journey, your stories, your emotion, more about you, your performances. That is the bit that will drive them from being interested to emotionally attached. Tip number three, stories. At the beginning of this video, we discussed how people want to be a part of a tribe for things that define them. So your stories can actually tell people who you are and what you stand for, which then means if they stand for the same thing, they're much more likely to come on your journey and go from interest to emotional attachment and fan as quick as possible. Number four, emotion and entertainment. Look back through your posts and tell me the last time that you posted something which was either entertaining or emotional driven. Most of the time when I'm seeing people put posts up, it's either a live video, which is entertaining, or a demand. What else can you do with your content that can add in that emotion, that can trigger what you stand for and what they stand for? Tell stories and make something which is emotion driven. And number five, the big one, communication. Are you talking at people or are you starting or joining the conversation? The amount of times when people ask me to go and check out their Facebook, their Instagram, or their YouTube, I'll see post after post after post with comments underneath and nothing in reply. And I'm like, what use is that? You are not communicating with your audience that wants to communicate with you. How are you going to turn someone from audience member to fan unless you communicate? And I'm not just talking about a thank you. I'm talking about conversation. I'm talking about a relationship building chat on a regular basis, because this is the difference between someone who likes your page and someone who wants to engage with you and communicate with you and come on your journey with you. So what it comes down to is this. If you want fans, you have to create them, and that takes time and effort, because any relationship takes time and effort. This is about creating a tiny legacy for your audience every single day. You are providing value and you are building a relationship. Yes, it takes time, and yes, you've got to be patient, but this is how you build an army of fans. And let me tell you something. If you've got 100 people who are genuinely engaged in your music, then you can 100% get to 1,000. And if you can get to 1,000, you can get to 10,000, and so on and so forth. It's just multiplying. It's just looking after people and finding new ways of looking after people and growing and getting better and improving and putting the circle round and round and round to build that momentum. So that's it. What one thing can you do every single day to reward your audience and take them from interested to emotionally attached? Have a think about it. Let me know in the comments below what you do that's a bit different from everyone else. Something that you do that provides value and that gives you these fans. Otherwise, do me a favor, like, subscribe, be a part of this community because it's growing massive. See you guys tomorrow.